The Roman Empire was a giant of the ancient world, a civilization whose influence stretched across continents and centuries. At its height, the empire extended from the misty shores of Britain in the west to the sun-baked lands of Mesopotamia in the east, uniting a vast and diverse population under one rule. Its power seemed eternal, giving us roads that still survive today, a legal system that became the foundation for many modern laws, and a language, Latin, that shaped countless others across Europe and beyond. The idea that such a mighty civilization could vanish has fascinated historians, archaeologists, and ordinary people for generations, sparking endless debate and curiosity. The fall of Rome is a complex puzzle, not a single event or a sudden catastrophe, but a gradual unraveling that took centuries to unfold. Imagine a massive stone building collapsing, not from one missing brick but from countless cracks spreading slowly through its foundation, each one weakening the structure a little more. Rome's decline was the result of both internal weaknesses and relentless external pressures, a process that played out over generations. Political chaos, frequent changes of leadership, and widespread corruption eroded the empire's stability, while invasions and threats from outside forces constantly tested its strength. Economic troubles including inflation, heavy taxation, and a shrinking workforce further strained the system, making it harder for Rome to sustain its vast territories and armies. Even environmental changes, like shifting climate patterns, crop failures, and plagues, played a role in this historical drama, compounding the empire's many challenges. Understanding this intricate web of causes helps us appreciate not only the fragility of great civilizations, but also the resilience required to endure through adversity. A weakened economy made it increasingly difficult to pay and equip soldiers, leaving the empire's borders exposed and vulnerable to attack. Political instability and infighting prevented leaders from finding lasting solutions to food shortages, inflation, and the growing divide between rich and poor. By examining these interconnected issues, we gain valuable lessons that still resonate in our modern world, reminding us that no society is immune to decline. The fall of Rome is more than just a story from the past, it's a journey back in time that allows us to witness the slow unraveling of a once mighty empire. It shows how a combination of political, economic, social, and environmental problems can lead to the decline of even the greatest civilizations in history. As we explore the ruins and reflect on Rome's fate, we uncover insights into the challenges we face today, and perhaps how we might avoid repeating the mistakes of the past. The later Roman Empire faced constant turmoil at its top. Choosing a new emperor was chaotic, often leading to civil wars. Ambitious generals fought for the imperial throne, draining resources. Frequent changes in leadership bred corruption and mismanagement. Officials enriched themselves quickly, knowing their time was short. The government grew inefficient, struggling to collect taxes or manage provinces. The empire's vast size made governing difficult without modern communication. Emperor Diocletian divided the empire, creating a deeper division. The crisis of the 3rd century saw barracks emperors with loyalty to soldiers, not the state. This cycle of assassinations eroded public trust and left the empire exposed. The leadership crisis fractured the empire's spirit and weakened its defenses. As Rome weakened internally, its political and social structures began to crumble. It faced immense external pressure from various fronts, challenging its once unassailable borders. The empire fought various groups it called barbarians, like the Goths and Huns, who were relentless in their pursuit of Roman lands. Initially, Roman legions kept these groups at bay, but control slipped as Rome weakened, and the legions themselves became overstretched and underfunded. Tribes sought to join the empire, attracted by its wealth and security, hoping for a better life within its borders. The Huns' arrival pushed tribes like the Visigoths into Roman territory, creating a domino effect of migrations and invasions. The Romans struggled to manage this migration, sometimes treating newcomers cruelly, which only fueled further unrest and resentment. The Battle of Adrianople in 378 CE was a turning point, shattering Roman military prestige and demonstrating the empire's vulnerability. The Visigoths became a powerful presence inside the empire, establishing their own territories and challenging Roman authority. In 410 CE, the Visigoths sacked Rome, sending shockwaves across the Mediterranean and signaling a new era of instability. The Vandals sacked Rome again in 455 CE, signaling the Western Empire's collapse and the end of an era. These events showed Rome could no longer protect its sacred places, its temples desecrated and altars abandoned. The psychological impact of these defeats was as damaging as the military losses, leaving the Roman populace in a state of fear and uncertainty. The Western Empire's power was collapsing, unable to withstand external pressures and internal decay, leading to a gradual but inevitable decline. The fall of Rome was a slow decline, not a sudden crash marked by a series of events that eroded its foundations over time. Rome's political and military problems were deeply intertwined with a severe economic crisis that shook the very foundations of the empire. As the empire grew, so did its expenses, and the strain began to show in every aspect of Roman life. Trade disruptions from constant wars and repeated invasions led to widespread shortages of goods and essential resources, causing prices to rise sharply. Merchants struggled to move their wares, and once bustling markets became eerily quiet. In a desperate attempt to fund its massive army and government, the empire began to debase its currency, mixing precious metals with cheaper ones. This led to rampant inflation, as coins quickly lost their value and trust in the currency eroded. Prices for everyday goods skyrocketed, and the savings of ordinary Romans became worthless almost overnight. This economic turmoil fueled social unrest, as people struggled to afford basic necessities. Agriculture, the backbone of Rome's economy, suffered greatly. Exhausted soil, overworked land, and the rise of huge estates owned by the wealthy left small farmers unable to compete or survive. Many small farmers were forced off their land, swelling the cities with a desperate urban underclass that became increasingly reliant on state handouts just to survive. Rome's reliance on conquest for new wealth and resources became a fatal weakness, as expansion ground to a halt. Without new territories to plunder, the empire's income dried up. The tax base shrank dramatically due to devastating plagues, ongoing wars, and the overall economic decline, leaving the government trapped in a financial crisis with fewer and fewer resources to draw upon. The empire's growing economic instability weakened its ability to respond to other challenges, from defending its borders to maintaining its vast infrastructure. The relentless financial strain made it impossible for Rome to sustain its power, contributing directly to the empire's slow but inevitable decline. The economic collapse was not just a background issue, it was a critical factor that accelerated Rome's fall, undermining its society and government from within. In the end, the empire's financial woes were both a symptom and a cause of its decline, leaving a once mighty civilization unable to recover from the mounting pressures it faced. The Roman military, once a formidable force, faced a crisis. The empire's vast borders were too long to defend effectively. Recruiting Roman citizens became difficult, leading to reliance on non-Roman soldiers. These soldiers' loyalty was often to their commanders, not Rome. The army became a collection of mercenary warbands, not a unified force. Emperors promised land and money to keep troops loyal, straining the treasury. Powerful barbarian generals wielded more influence than the emperor. The military's changing nature eroded the Roman identity. The army's overstretch and internal division weakened the empire's defenses. The military crisis was both a cause and symptom of Rome's decline. The shield that once protected Rome was now full of cracks. The Roman Empire faced unseen environmental challenges. Climate shifts like the late antique Little Ice Age impacted agriculture. Shorter growing seasons and extreme weather led to crop failures and food shortages. Deforestation and soil erosion reduced agricultural output, weakening the economy. Pandemics like the Antonine Plague reduced the population, creating a demographic crisis. Environmental changes compounded Rome's political and economic troubles. The fall of Rome was a slow, gradual process, not a sudden event. Changes were imperceptible day to day, like a long sunset. The decline began long before the Western Empire's collapse in 476 CE. Problems of political instability, economic weakness, and military overreach built up over generations. Roman culture blended with Germanic cultures, transforming rather than disappearing. Roman law, language, and religion influenced new European kingdoms. The fall was a period of transition, not a definitive end. Power shifted to local leaders, marking the end of central authority. The year 476 CE marked the end of the Western Roman Emperor, but not the end of Rome's influence. The fall of Rome is a continuing conversation about the rise and fall of great powers. Only half of the Roman Empire fell. The Eastern Roman Empire thrived. The Western Empire faced barbarian migrations and internal decay. The Eastern Empire, later known as the Byzantine Empire, had key advantages. It was geographically defensible, wealthier, and had stable leadership. The East maintained a professional army and functioning bureaucracy. The Byzantine Empire preserved Roman law, Greek culture, and Christian traditions. It saw itself as the continuation of the Roman Empire. The Byzantine Empire fell in 1453, marking the end of the Roman story. The Roman Empire's legacy spanned from the 8th century BCE to the 15th century CE. The story of Rome is one of transformation and enduring influence. The fall of the Roman Empire holds important lessons for today. It reminds us that no civilization is permanent, and complex societies are fragile. Rome's decline parallels modern challenges like political corruption and economic inequality. Environmental degradation and pandemics show the natural world's impact on history. Rome's transformation into the medieval world shows collapse as a process of change. Roman ideas about law and governance shaped Western civilization. The fall of Rome prompts questions about societal stability and sustainability. It encourages reflection on central authority, diversity, and environmental relationships. The fall of Rome is a continuing conversation about the rise and fall of great powers. Its echoes can still be heard in the world we inhabit today.